Gulf Governor Havila Kavo sentenced to 18 months in jail. NCDC Board imposes an alcohol ban in Port Moresby. And patients at Angau turned away due to overcrowding and poor hygiene.
This is National MTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
A very good evening to you and welcome to Tuesday's news. Thanks for your company. Following the recent standoff between the police and the PNG Defence Force, the National Capital District Commission has banned the sale of alcohol in Port Moresby. NCD Governor Pars Parkup, in a news conference, condemned the recent standoff by the two disciplined forces. He said it was shameful.
Governor Parkup is frustrated at the recent standoff between the police and PNG Defence Force. He said the nation's capital was a growing city, moving forward to host major international events, the 2015 Pacific Games and the 2018 APEC Leaders Summit, and such incidents were uncalled for.
It's an incident that happened out of a situation that emerged in a bar. It's rising out of drunkenness or alcohol abuse. It is not a result of some major, political or social issues or grievances that people have against each other that is to warrant the type of a destruction.
While he commended efforts made by the heads of both police and defence force to bring peace, he warned opportunists that the disciplined forces will shoot to injure anyone caught looting.
The people should be mindful now that the police are authorized to use firearms to restrain people from unnecessary looting.
Governor Parkup said the incident was alcohol-related and not worthy of the current standoff. As a result, the NCD Commission Board has suspended all liquor trading licenses indefinitely starting this Friday. This means an indefinite liquor ban for the city.
The public, Port Moresby, is informed through this media that they have until Friday to stop trading liquor, alcohol, and their licenses are suspended. If they want to drink, they will go to a hotel, a tavern, restaurant, drink, go and sleep.
Another issue raised by two board members of NCD Commission was to relocate all PNG Defence Force facilities out of the nation's capital.
If that can be, that process can be recognized as soon as possible, and for this reallocation of the barracks to be, done as soon as possible.
And to re-emphasize the true meaning of Christmas, a special peace walk has been organized for tomorrow evening. An open invitation has been extended to the two factions of the disciplined forces to put their grievances aside and participate in the peace walk. Meanwhile, Governor Parkup has assured the international visitors and Pacific Islanders that all is well and the city stands ready to host the 2015 Pacific Games and other international events. Bridget Komatep, National MTV News.
NCD and Central Police Divisional Commander Jerry Frank has assured the public that police will guarantee their safety. His statements come after days of unrest spurred by confrontations between the police and members of the Papua New Guinea Defence Force. Frank has also warned opportunists to stop harassing businesses.
Since the standoff last Saturday, business houses and residents in the Boroko, 4 Mile and Taroma areas have questioned their confidence in police. Over the weekend, many shops were forced to close and residents remained indoors.
9 station commanders have taken charge of the respective 8 suburban police stations, checking on the community and the service stations and likewise the supermarkets.
An investigation task force team involving senior officials from both forces was set up on Saturday to further investigate the cause of the confrontation. Investigations have commenced and the term of reference will soon be presented to the National Executive Council.
After the investigation, it will take 14 days to have investigations to complete, and within that, then a final report will be then submitted to the Commissioner, likewise his brother Commander PNGDF.
It is understood that the confrontation has disturbed normal police operations within the nation's capital, but Commander Frank says the situation is contained and encouraged NCD residents to not live in fear but continue with their daily activities.
take advantage of the situation. So I'd like to warn the general public or the population out there is that do not take the advantage of what has happened. It's now contained both officers of the defense.
Meanwhile, the Central Provincial Police Commander and the NCD Metropolitan Superintendent will be launching their 2 weeks operations for the festive season on this Friday. Taklagunga, National MTV News.
Meanwhile, opposition leader Don Polya wants a change in the culture in the behavior of police and defense force personnel. Polya says the current standoff is a shame for the two disciplinary forces. He called on the Defence Commander and Police Commissioner to solve this issue once and for all.
The opposition leader condemned the current standoff between police force and defence officers in Port Moresby over the weekend. Mr. Polya says such act is a disgrace to leading disciplined forces of the country. He called for a change in public behaviour by the two forces to regain public trust and confidence.
Two disciplined forces in this nation are expected by the people of Papua New Guinea to illustrate the highest level of discipline and character.
The opposition leader says the clash has caused looting of shops by the public, resulting in millions lost by business houses and fear in city residents as Christmas approaches.
Come to reconciliation, change this culture of undisciplined behavior, change this culture of drunkenness, change this culture of taking the law into their own hands.
Mr. Polya said this has pinned PNG on the world map with questions over the staging of the Pacific Games in 2015 and APEC in 2018.
Citizens, they live in fear and intimidation. So I'd like to call on the Royal Constabulary of Papua New Guinea Defence Force to make peace.
He called on Prime Minister Peter O'Neill to intervene and have the heads of the two forces to come down hard on those responsible. Jack Lepave Jr., National MTV News.
A reconciliation ceremony will be held between the army and the police to put an end to the standoff. Commander Gilbert Torpo maintains that all is in order and his men have returned to work. He also says disciplinary actions will be taken against those involved in the weekend brawl.
Commander Toropo has broken his silence 3 days after the standoff between the army and police. He assured city residents and the business community that the matter is being dealt with at the highest level to bring those involved to justice through a joint investigation.
To also state that whether we are service personnel or policemen, no one is above the law. The investigations will reveal what has happened, and it will determine what course of action both the police commissioner and the commander of defense force will take on those who are responsible.
He did not reveal any new details into the incident, but confirmed 4 military personnel were wounded during weekend's incident. 3 have been discharged from the Port Moresby General ICU, while 1 will undergo operation to implant a metal plate in his leg. He regrets that such an incident had to happen at a time when PNG is about to host upcoming international events.
We all know there's few activities ahead of us that the police and the defense force will have to be working together. In 2015, it's the South Pacific Games, and in 2017, it's the national elections coming up, and in 2018, it's the major international APEC Leaders Summit, and both forces cannot.
By the end of this week, a reconciliation ceremony will be held between the two forces to broker peace and to restore confidence in security. Mickey Cavera, National MTV News.
Trade, Commerce and Industry Minister Richard Maru has demanded that the Defence Force clarify the status of previous investigations into the violence caused by soldiers. Maru said investigations serve little purpose if those responsible are not punished. Maru also said those involved in the violence do not have a place in the army.
Tell the nation what we have done. There's so many investigations in the past and we don't know what happened. It's time we told the nation and made it clear to those who are members of the disciplinary force that you are not just ordinary citizens. We expect you to be disciplined. And if you don't, you must have no place in the force.
And stay with us. We'll be back with more local news coming up after the break. Good to have you back with the news. Gulf Governor Havila Kavo has been sentenced to 18 months hard labour. The sentence was handed down this morning at the Waigani National Court by Justice Gibbs Salika. Kavo was found guilty of misappropriating more than 130,000 kina. The money was taken out of the Kutubu MOA Trust account. Justice Salika cited 7 other previous cases involving MPs misappropriating public monies. He said the court has been rightfully tough in such cases and should not shy away from punishing offenders. Patients were refused entry into Angau's accident and emergency outpatient today because of overcrowding and poor hygiene. Angau CEO Dr. Jim Abrahams explained that the Provincial Building Board hasn't approved the new ward structure, and so patients are still waiting for treatment. MTV's Bethany Harriman with more from Lay.
Some of these patients say they lined up to be admitted into the accident and emergency ward since last night. The patients couldn't be admitted because the wards were overcrowding. It was closed to those seeking treatment, and as the crowding began, so did hygiene problems. Floors were being washed from the inside to the outside. The dirty water going to patients waiting on the footpath outside.
Do you rather have the patients lying on the floor, or can I put them into this brand new ward I just built? No, we can't do that. We have to wait for the building board to approve it for us.
Angau CEO Dr. Jim Abrahams explained that the overcrowding at the accident and emergency section was caused by bureaucratic delays. He says the building board hasn't approved the new ward building.
That's a bureaucratic process that doesn't make any sense. That yes, there's a dream of having a beautiful ward full of beds and staff and everything else, and functioning toilets and showers. That's the dream, and we're nearly there. But the reality is that we've got patients lying on the floor, sick patients lying on the floor, lying in beds down corridors that need better care than that.
While Angau has seen a significant amount of change in the last 6 months, the challenge has been dealing with government departments to fast-track its redevelopment. Redevelopment that comes after the controversial Manus asylum seeker deal that included the improvement of Angau into a more modern facility. Bethany Harriman, National MTV News, Lay.
One more family has been evicted from Murray Barracks as the PNGDF continues its move to free up institutional housing. The family of former Corporal late Gabriel Meve were ordered to leave the house. They have been living there for the last 25 years.
The PNG Defence Force went and removed them from their home as they were about to have their breakfast. Alice Meve, widow and wife of a former late Corporal, Gabriel Meve, and her grandchildren were the victims. While waiting for his service entitlements, Corporal Meve died in 2006. Alice pleaded to the PNG Defence Force and the government to give the service entitlements before they leave. She said she spent all her money on legal fees and saw little result.
The year 2000, and if the commander is listening right now, me talk the year 2000. Year 2000, all Papa Blumi players start caught because they were unlawfully discharged.
Yesterday, the PNG Defence Force Commander, Brigadier General Gilbert Toropo, said many of these ex-servicemen have lived there for too long and has prepared to repatriate them to their home villages.
The ex-servicemen understand the PNG Defence Force responsibility to repatriate them away from the married quarters to their homes.
Vasinata Yama, National MTV News.
The people of Eastern Highlands Province are calling on Governor Julie Soso and local MP Birekimi Sopa to put aside their differences and complete the rebuilding of the Goroka Town Market. Community leader and market supervisor Veho Mohokule told NTV News that all community leaders in the town area are well prepared to work with the governor and MP to build the market.
Last week, Eastern Highlands Governor Julie Soso called on Goroka MP Birekimi Sopa to put aside their differences and work together in rebuilding the Goroka market. In support to the governor's call, community leader and market supervisor Veho Mohokule says the people are waiting to respond to help rebuild the market. He said they want the two politicians to work together.
Mipla allergy, mipla mipla stop na mel, mipla wait molta solo division. Anytime division come clear now, mipla why come in law allergy now and development never take place.
The current state of the market is in need of change. Its space limited, with market vendors selling their produce in what used to be the market's car park. Rain is another problem. It creates large pools of water in the market. With no higher bench or tables to sell their goods, it leaves goods vulnerable to the mud.
Musena en mamaya mi bla woglo stratimo place na mi bla security mi bla protect mo liet na mi bla lugar team na mi bla pilimpen na mi bla sorero o mama but only das pe mi orino look sabelo heavy problem o mama o semna na mi bla allergy mi bla pilimpen resana mi bla like tremblo pushing but tu sabe all police na mo big bla mano me gimso I had to buy you pushing.
Proper rubbish disposal is another issue in the market. Right now, an old truck is used as a rubbish dump. No proper waste and sanitation facilities are seen in the market. Last week in Port Moresby, Governor Soso assured the people of Eastern Highlands that the market will be rebuilt.
We'll develop it for the women so that the women can, we want a two-story market. The market will be a big market.
Stanley Over Jr., National EMTV News.
The national government is pushing to link PNG through the networking of roads. An important part of the plan is the Highlands Highway, which is a key contributing factor to the country's economy. 150 million kina has been allocated in the 2015 national budget to cater for that. National Planning Minister Charles Abel says the highway is an asset to the country.
The PNG government still face difficulty connecting roads in the country. The ending down of the 2015 record budget will see 2.2 billion kina for infrastructure, of which roads and bridges fall under. And a priority project by the national government is the Highlands Highway. Last week, National Planning Minister Charles Abel travelled from Angau to Western Islands through Jiwaka, Simbu, Eastern Islands and Morobe. The trip was to see current progress of road works and where work should be prioritized. The minister says key roads marked as missing links have been targeted with outlets to the southern part of the country.
The government is funding section by section of the Highlands Highway to get it completed once and for all.
Minister Abel said the outlets of the Highlands region is from Semribi to Kikorian Gulf. Meanwhile, work has progressed in Angau to Mount Again with funding from Go PNG and the tax credit scheme. Other roads include the Como Trans Highway and the Mulbaya to Madang.
Work is due to complete in April next year, and according to the current rate of progress, we should be able to complete the works next year.
Considering the current development in Lae City, Minister Abel says that thriving economy sectors will rely heavily on the Islands Highway. He says the government wants to see PNG linked through roads, giving alternate opportunities to all sectors in the country.
Number one asset of Papua New Guinea, which is our Highlands Highway. It's a critical lifeline, and as a committed government, we want to, as Planning Minister, I really want to see that highway.
Jacob Pava Jr., National EMTV News.
And now we check out the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.389 in the interbank market. And at Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3815 $0.4554 Australian dollars, €0.3069 euro, and 45.53 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, copper and cocoa closed higher and coffee closed lower. Palm oil closed the day unchanged, while crude oil and copper closed lower. And finally, on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 106 points lower, the ASX closed at 53 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 55 points lower. The arrival of the new Premier in Port Moresby and a mathematics conference in Goroka. I'll bring you those stories coming up after the break. Welcome back. The Premier for Niue, Toke Tufukia Talagi, arrived in the country today. The Premier is on an official two-day visit, beginning with a courtesy call on the Governor-General, Sir Michael Ogio, this afternoon. Mr. Talagi signed the visitor's book at the Government's House before meeting with Gigi, Lady Esme and other officials. He is also expected to meet with Prime Minister and is expected to go on a guided tour of the LNG plant site tomorrow. Governor-General Sir Michael Ogier officially opened the second international conference on pure and applied mathematics at the University of Goroka yesterday. Over 25 research papers on mathematics will be presented at the conference by representatives from all over the world over the next 3 days. NTV's Sylvester Gawi reports from Goroka.
The Governor-General was joined by the Minister for Higher Education, Science, Research and Technology, Honorable Malakai Tabar, and Eastern Highlands Governor Julie Soso in opening the conference. The Governor-General in his opening remarks says this is the first time a truly international scientific conference is being held in Papua New Guinea.
Some of the top mathematicians in the world are here to present papers, exchange ideas with us. I welcome you all to Papua New Guinea and hope you will all enjoy the experience as much as we look forward to your contributions in this conference.
Before being elected as the Governor-General, Sir Michael Ogier has been the Minister for Higher Education. The Science and Technology Initiative of the former Office of Higher Education was launched in 2008 under his instruction. Through that initiative, millions of kina have been granted for research in universities. In the next 4 days, the University of Goroka will be hosting this international conference on pure and applied mathematics. This conference is jointly organized by the Mathematics Society of Papua New Guinea and the Division of Mathematics and Computing here at the University of Goroka. Large delegates from Asia, Africa, Australia, Europe, South Pacific and the United States of America are also attending this conference. Eastern Highlands Governor Julie Soso was also happy with the conference being hosted by a province. Governor Soso also stressed out that in recent years, school syllabuses have changed one after the other, without any real change in the standard of mathematics teaching and learning in Papua New Guinea.
I am confident that during the deliberation of this conference, some solutions will be found to bring up the standard of mathematics from primary level in schools to tertiary level in tertiary institutions to international standards.
One of the main objectives of the conference was to improve the level of mathematics education in primary schools, secondary and tertiary institutions. Papers presented at this conference will not only be on latest research in mathematics, but also applications of mathematics in a variety of fields such as agriculture, business, economics, medicine and others. These are some of the areas that needs improvement in mathematics teaching and learning in Papua New Guinea. Sylvester Gawi, National EMTV News, Goroka.
St. John ambulance workers have called on the national government to quickly intervene and audit the organization's account books. The call was made after the recent protest over pay and employment conditions. An immediate response from the state is vital for the smooth running of the organization.
St. John ambulance workers yesterday protested to news for a stop work after the management decision not to pay the remaining 2 pay periods of 2014. Workers reacted to an internal memo due to fund shortage that didn't go well in their ears. Workers interviewed attributed that mismanagement practices over the past years before the current Chief Executive Officer, Andrew Kalai, have affected the organization's prosperity. Staff suspended or terminated for misconduct in office are still hanging loose in the Port Moresby streets, not facing justice.
Minister and our council from St. John's, like council must walk. Council of St. John's must walk like isi molis laman, na puti moli ko lahan long. Tapos council no help, and me nothing by walking running.
This log of corrupt practices the workers attributed to the unaudited account books. Until today, there's still unknown whether the books are audited. Since the national government injects funds to St. John Ambulance Internal and external audits are vital to guarantee their stance.
Only work him, amino strength. So me ask him, suppose full audit can check him books for St. John's. I think this number can help me plan, put him like or me all kita must give him advice on accounts too. Accounts him all advertise him all position, all kiss him all man long whom you know, all kiss him straight like that. So me like him audit must check him all books for St. John's.
The workers called on the national government to quickly intervene. Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
An early Christmas gift for June Valley Adventist Academy School in the nation's capital. A new classroom that will help cater for future increasing enrollments. Moresby Northwest MP Michael Malabag officially opened the building yesterday.
Mr. Malabag's speech focused on education as the catalyst for change. Education, a government priority, will be implemented in the Moresby Northwest electorate.
With that, just because Boom is full of carbon doesn't mean I concentrate on carbon only. Must be equally right around the electorate.
He then officially opened the classroom funded under the District Service Improvement Program costing 50,000 kina. Head teacher Campbell Cap thanked the Moresby Northwest Members Office for the gift. The new classroom that will accommodate grade 3 students signals the transition from elementary into a full-fledged primary school by 2016.
School and has the potential of expansion due to the quality of education and committed staff we have. We are in desperation of more classroom facilities, my honorable member.
June Valley Adventist Academy is a 7-day agency school that focuses on quality teaching and learning, empowering students with faith to prosper in education. Eric Arupma, National EMTV News.
And that's all we have in our news segment tonight, but stay tuned. I'll be back with all your sporting updates after these messages.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. PNG Peppers recorded their second loss over Samoa in Day 2 of the Netball Nations Cup played yesterday at 7 p.m. PNG time in Singapore. Peppers' starting lineup includes Susan Wellington at goalkeeping, with vice-captain, veteran Kilala Owen, playing defence. Veteran Luarikis played a notable role in goal shooting, but wasn't able to collect their much-needed 14 points as Peppers went down 58 points to 44. Host Singapore made a back-to-back win after edging out Botswana 46 points to 41, while Malaysia took sweet revenge on Ireland 40 to 36. Meanwhile, PNG Peppers will take on Malaysia, who went down to Samoa in their first match. The High Performance Training Centre plays an important role in the preparations of athletes as they gear up for the 2015 Pacific Games. While their role is solely on upskilling the athletes and coaches, their long-term focus is also on raising the level of knowledge that athletes require to become of international standard. NTV's Lorraine Genia takes a look at the centre.
The High Performance Training Centre offers holistic services to not just Team PNG, but services that will benefit sports in Papua New Guinea as a whole. Now, the services vary from high performance training to strength and conditioning, rehabilitation and physiotherapy, education, and much more. Speaking to High Performance Manager Aaron Alsop earlier today, he mentioned that he was in absolute awe of the raw talent and potential that lies within Team PNG leading up to the 2015 Pacific Games.
We have the talent, but the word talent or potential is scary in the fact that it's only potential if you know then how to transform that into performance.
While there lays an enormous amount of talent and potential in the country, the HPTC's challenge is developing that potential over a set period of time. In their efforts to deliver professional programs for athletes, the HPTC have a number of other elements to focus on as the 4th of July dawns upon the rest of the country.
What we try to do in the High Performance Training Centre and across the whole High Performance Division is just provide services in a way that add value to the programs that exist in country. And we're looking at expanding those services where we can support athletes that are based in Goroka, the NSI, Lay and Kokopo are probably the three major regional development centres that we want to work with.
With over 1,000 athletes across 28 sports training under the High Performance Training Centres regime, the country still lacks domestic competitions which have forced athletes overseas for exposure and experience.
A lot of the elite athletes that we have overseas are actually benefiting more from the program because it's not just the training. The lack of domestic competition that we have at the moment in PNG is something that we're working on, and so it's not just the training opportunities that they get, it's actually the competition opportunities that they get.
Prior to the Games next year, the HPTC will be running a number of coaching conferences in January, as well as a number of medical trainings and strength and conditioning workshops. Lorraine Genya, National EMTV Sports.
The Goilala Karukas Rugby League team received a set of new uniforms and 5,000 kina ahead of their grand final clash against Arama Coast in the inaugural Central Province Premier League competition tomorrow. The presentation of uniforms was done by Goilala District Administrator Jimmy Aniawa and Waitape LLG President Joe Geru in Port Moresby. The grand final of the Kilahauda Cup will be played tomorrow in Maupa Village on the Arama Coast. And Trukai Sports continues with cricket overseas when we come back. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Good to have you back with Trukai Sports. Well, they call them test matches for a reason. A trial of endurance, skill, patience and courage, but there's never been a test match quite like this one. The Adelaide Oval witnessed one of the greatest days in the history of cricket.
He's over-pitched, he's punched it down the ground.
A day of triumph.
A glorious celebration for the life of Phil Hughes.
And a day of pain.
There it is. It was a ball, it was a innocuous ball down the leg side.
Philip's smile, his free-spirited attitude to life.
That was wrapped in the solemn moments of remembering a missing mate. It couldn't have been more appropriate that the first test of the summer began in front of Philip Hughes' adopted home crowd. 408, his test playing number, and 63, his final score, were milestones in Philip's career, and today they took centre stage as the world of cricket paid its final salute. Dedicated fans were early at the ground for the pick of the seats.
About 4:20 I reckon we pulled in.
The queue's long, ready to honour, but also ready to watch the game again. The players with black armbands stood in the centre, and then that famous voice.
A boy just beginning, 25 years of age, baggy green number 408.
Sent an emotional ripple through the crowd.
Fighter, friend, inspiration. Philip Hughes, forever. Rest in peace, son.
Before one final act, one final celebration of a life. 63 seconds to applaud a son, a brother, a sportsman and a teammate. We have farewelled him, we have honoured him, and now time to remember Philip Hughes by playing the game that he loved. His best mate Michael Clark demanded that cricket must go on, and today is the day.
Michael.
And as the tributes made way for the toss, Captain Clark took up the challenge.
Yeah, we're going to have a bat, Mark, thank you.
With the backing of his late mate.
My little buddy would like us doing is getting out here and playing some good cricket.
Sent into battle, David Warner knew he had a nation in his corner. And once in the middle, he faced those demons the only way he knows how.
Full at the moment, it's timed unbelievably.
3 fours in the first over set the tone.
Warner says thank you.
2 weeks ago, the bouncer rocked the game.
Wow.
But it will always be part of it. Warner safely negotiated the short ball before building the most emotional innings in his career. Racking up the milestone, 63.
You can feel it all around the Adelaide Oval. I suspect you can feel it all around Australia.
And then a century. 5 days ago, he was a broken man dealing with grief, now a cricketing colossus.
The glorious celebration for the life of Phil Hughes. Right, here we go.
Michael Clark had joined the show.
The entrance to the arena of the man that has held the country's attention in the past 2 weeks.
Receiving a rousing reception from the crowd, and then a brutal first ball welcome from the Indians. However, he dug in, just like Hughesy had told him to. He notched up half a century.
Timely 50, an emotional 50.
Before once again, his body let him down.
Well, just think for a minute what is going through his mind. So many emotions.
He traipsed off the ground and then later through the crowd. Next stop for the captain, hospital, for scans on a back which once again has threatened a wonderful career. And while the drama was being played out in Adelaide, at the SCG, Sean Abbott was making his comeback at the ground where he bowled that fatal ball. The 22-year-old dealt with the pressure, his fifth ball a bouncer and taking wickets as well. This was a momentous day for the game, cricket taking a giant step in its healing process.
And back home, the SB Hunters will climb Mount Kabiu in East New Britain this weekend to raise funds for charity. Headed by head coach Michael Murrum, the funds will be raised to go towards the Nonga Base and St Mary's hospitals to put a smile on the faces of those that will be spending the festive period in the hospital.
Keeping the festive period celebration alive for all, the SPPNG Hunters will climb Mount Kabiu, situated next to Mount Tavurvur, to raise funds for charity. All players and staff have been given individual targets of 100 kina to raise towards the charity climb. The team plan to purchase presents for patients who will be spending the Christmas and New Year period in the Nonga Base Hospital in Rabaul and St Mary's Vunapope Hospital in Kokopo. Head coach Michael Murrum calls out to all their sponsors and supporters to get behind their effort and support a worthy cause. PNG Rugby Football League CEO Brad Tassel pledged a personal contribution of 500 kina and commends the team for driving this initiative. Carmichael Builders have also donated 2,000 kina. This marks a milestone for community service initiative and programs that national sporting bodies are embarking on, building a strong community partnership and development culture. Scholar Sengi, National MTV Sports.
And that's a take on our sporting updates tonight, but stay tuned. I'll give you the weather details for the next 24 hours coming up next.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
The weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in southern region: Port Moresby to look forward to shower or two, including thunderstorms. Afternoon showers in Kerema, fine weather in Alotau, showers in Popondetta, and brief evening showers expected in Daru. In Momase region, Lay City, thundery showers, thunderstorms as well in Madang, and a few showers in Wewak and Vanimore. In the New Guinea Islands, Lorengau, Kavang and Kimbe to anticipate thundery showers, showers in Rabaul and a shower or two expected in Buka. In the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, thundery showers, evening showers in Goroka and Kundiawa, and showers in Wabeg and Mendi. Forecast for small ships: waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daro to Kiwai Island to Kerema, through to Yule Island, Hood Point to Arama Coast, Samarai, Cape Vogel to Wasu Point, Finschhafen, Eastern and Western Milne Bay Islands, Finschhafen including Vitia Strait, Siasi Island, Manus all the way through to its western group of islands, New Britain and to New Ireland, seas of 0.5 metres to 1.3 metres, waters of Long Island through to Madang, Bogia, Wewak, Aitape, Vanimore and the northern PNG Indonesian border, seas of 0.5 to 1.3 metres. And finally, ocean forecast for PNG areas. Coral Sea sees slight to moderate with east to northeast winds at 10 to 20 knots. Solomon Sea sees slight with east to northeast winds at 10 to 15 knots. Bismarck Sea sees slight to moderate with northwest to southwest winds at 10 to 20 knots. And lastly, Pacific Ocean sees slight with southwest winds at 10 to 15 knots. And before we go, a quick recap of our main headlines tonight. Gulf Governor Havila Kavo has been sentenced to 18 months in prison. Also, the police and the army to hold a reconciliation meeting after Saturday's brawl. And Richard Maru angered over ill discipline in the police and military. Well, that's been the news, sports and weather this Tuesday night. On behalf of the news crew, I'm Tokana Hasavi. Thanks again for your company. You take care and stay safe. Good night.